I'm on. So we'll go from there. My computer told me that I had lost connection. So, but as the things are happening around us, we need this holiday cheer. We need to remember that Jesus came to us, and that's something that we can get excited about. But we also know that that song that is sung, that tag within that song, it's the most wonderful time of the year. We know that for the reason of Jesus coming to us, yes, that's the most wonderful time of the year. But we also know that Christmas is also a very difficult time of the year for so many. And going into this, the second wave of restrictions and lockdowns. I know here in California we have a stay-at-home order that has been issued, and so I think about more people who will be losing jobs, more people who will be hospitalized, more people who will not be able to be with their families, and it's just very sad. It's very hard. It's very difficult. As I think about people within my own faith family that are struggling today, that need our prayers, and we are praying for each and every one of you. Let me assure you of that. But also, if there's a need that you can make known, and we can help you as being a part of this faith family and being on this journey with us, I would love for you to. And it's not always easy to reach out and say, "Hey, we need some help." But if you do that, I will keep that confidential, and I will do the best that I can do. To reach out and to make sure that you're taken care of. But it's important for us to know that Jesus was born during a difficult time in history. And I know we hear all these messages around Christmas time, the peace, the hope, the joy, Emmanuel, God with us, and so many things that we need to hear, because we have the gift giver, our God, who's given us every good and perfect gift. But we also need to remember that it wasn't, that Bethlehem wasn't lit up with lights and there were carolers and there were all kinds of presents and just, all kinds of peace and joy and happiness and, feasting. It was a very difficult time when Jesus entered into the world. A lot was happening. Things were dark and seemingly hopeless. And that might be a part of the Christmas story that you haven't heard. Or maybe you have heard it and you just kind of push it to the side because you want to think happy thoughts. And I do as well. But I think it's important for us to know that we have a Jesus, and I'm going to say it a few times today, who not only came to us at a difficult time in history, but we have a Jesus who still comes to us in the difficult times of life. Somebody needs to hear that word today. Your life today may be very, very difficult, hard. You may be stressed out and just the hustle and the bustle and the feeling like, wow, I don't know if I'm going to be able to put presents under the tree this year. And I think it was my friend Robin Grande who said something about, and it's stuck with me, more important than the presents that are under the tree the presence of those that we love, and just being around family and being around those that just means so much in our lives. And having the presence of God with us is the greatest gift we could ever ask for. But in the New Testament, there was the massacre of the innocents. That's what it's referred to. It's the massacre of the innocents in the incident in the nativity narrative of the Gospel of Matthew chapter 2, 16 through 18, in which, and you might know the story, Herod the Great, king of Judea, he makes this order. It wasn't a stay-at-home order of protection. In fact, it wasn't an order of protection. It was an order of execution that he put into effect, and that said that all male boys under the age of 2 in the vicinity of Bethlehem were to be killed. Merry Christmas. That's what was happening when Jesus entered into the world. Killing babies isn't the new thing to do. In fact, the innocent and the weakest among us have suffered for thousands of years. And we see this happening with this wicked ruler, Herod the Great. Nothing great about his leadership, nothing great about what he did and what he ordered, the execution of these little ones. So it says in Matthew 2:16 through 18, let me read this to you. When Herod realized that he had been outwitted by the Magi, he was furious, and he gave orders to kill all the boys in Bethlehem and its vicinity who were 2 years old and under, in accordance with the time he had learned from the Magi. Then what was said through the prophet Jeremiah, and in case you're wondering, it's Jeremiah 31, verse 15, where these words were fulfilled. These words were spoken, years before they actually came into being, until this came to fruition. The voice is heard in Ramah, weeping in great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children and refusing to be comforted because they are no more. We refuse comfort when things or people are no more. And that's very human. It's hard at times, when you're at a place of such great loss. A friend of ours, a really good friend of ours, Laura Anderson, sent us a text message a day or two ago saying that a good friend, a very, very close friend of the family, young, passed away on his couch. And no children, but a wife, and he and his wife so close, so in love, and now his dear wife left just with a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, mourning, knowing that, life goes on and she has to go on, but it's just very, very difficult when you've lost something, when you've lost someone. But I want you to hear me again say it. We have a Jesus who still comes to us in difficult situations. We have a God who brings comfort. And sometimes it's hard to receive that comfort. Sometimes we just, want to go to bed and we don't want to wake up. We're depressed, we're down, we're defeated because life is hard, life is heavy, life isn't always easy. In fact, we were promised by Jesus, and I've made reference to this passage many, many times throughout my ministry, but more so in this year probably than any other time for what we've experienced. John 16:33, where Jesus says, in this world you're going to have trouble, but don't lose heart. Don't throw in the towel. Don't give up. Jesus says, I have overcome the world. And because we have a Jesus who has overcome all of life's challenges, all of life's difficulties, we too can be overcomers through Jesus Christ. It tells us in the book of Revelation that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb because of Jesus, because of his death and his resurrection, we can overcome. But because of the blood of the Lamb, but also because of the word of our testimony, the word of our story. It says in 1 Corinthians 1, 3 through 10, I just want to close with this passage. Praise be to the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of compassion and the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all of our troubles. Did you hear that? He comforts us in all of our troubles. We're going to have trouble. We're going to have difficulties, but he comforts us in all of our troubles and all of our difficulties so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God. So I have trouble, you have trouble, we have trouble, and God comforts us in our trouble. And because he comforts us in our trouble, because he's with us in our trouble and our difficult situations, we can help others. We can identify with others. We can relate with others and help them as they go through their trouble and difficult times, because that's what we've received from God. That's another gift that God has given to us. This season, he's given us comfort. He's giving you comfort today. For just as we share abundantly in the sufferings of Christ, so also our comfort abounds through Christ. If we are distressed, it is for your comfort and salvation. If we are comforted, it is for your comfort which produces in you patient endurance of the same suffering we suffer. And our hope for you is firm, because we know that just as you share in our suffering, so also you share in our comfort. The Apostle Paul says here in verse 8, he says, we don't want you to be uninformed. We don't want you to be out of the loop, brothers and sisters, about the troubles that we've experienced. In fact, we're going to share some of the troubles and some of the difficulties we've had to go through in our lives, what we've experienced in the province of Asia. He says, we were under great pressure. You feeling under great pressure these days, church, people, friends, family, as you listen to this message? Are you feeling great pressure? Are you feeling under pressure? Far beyond our ability, Paul says, to endure. You feel like, wow, this is just so much bigger than me. This pressure, this difficult situation, it's far beyond my ability to keep going. And Paul says, so that we despaired of life itself. I appreciate his honesty here. Like he's saying, we were going through so much. There's no way that we could get through it. I mean, we were kind of just even thinking, wow, like even being alive, it was just, we despaired life itself. Indeed, we felt we had received the sentence of death. Relatable? Can you relate to this today? But I love how he closes out this paragraph. He says these words. He said, but this happened that we might not rely on ourselves, but on God who raises the dead. Some of the things in life that are so much bigger than us, believe these things happen. We go through these things so that we realize that, you know what, this is so much bigger than me. I can't rely on myself to get me out of what I've got myself into or what life has, thrown my way. I mean, I have to rely on my God. I have to rely on God, a God who raises the dead, a God who can deliver. Because it says here in verse 10, he has delivered us from such a deadly peril, and he will deliver us again. On him we have set our hope that he will continue to deliver us. Those words are just monumental today. He will deliver us again. He will deliver you again. Again and again and again. We have a God who will deliver us again. And so it's on him today that we have placed, that we have set our hope that he will continue to deliver us. Not only will he continue to deliver us today, church, but we have a God who sent us Jesus, his one and only Son, during a very, very difficult time in history. That same Jesus will visit us again. That same Jesus is still coming to us in difficult times. And it's through these difficult times, these times of trouble, we have a God who says to you, and he says to me, he says to us, I will deliver you again. Accept my comfort, accept my grace, receive these gifts. And I know it's difficult, life is hard, but you don't have to do this alone. Keep moving forward. Keep going. Don't throw in the towel. You're going to have trouble. You're going to have hard times. But I've overcome the world, and I'm with you. And I'm not going to leave you. I'll deliver you again. I'll come to you again. I'll come to you in your difficult situation. Allow him today, whatever situation you find yourself in, allow him to come to you, because he's a God who offers us hope. There is hope. There is hope, because God is in control, and we find hope in his Son. We find hope in Jesus. Love you guys, thinking about you, praying for you. Again, if there's anything that we can do for you, if there's anything that you'd like us to pray about, if you would just send me a message, and we will commit you to our Father in heaven, and commit your needs to him. He's a God who will deliver you, a God who will see you through this difficult season, this difficult time. And it may be that for you today. It might be that you find yourself in a very difficult spot, but God is with you. Emmanuel, God has come to us. And he's a God who's come to us and a God who will never leave us. Amen. God bless you. We'll see you soon.